When I become king for the day, I'm going to make everyone go to their room and read this book. Afterwards, there'll be free martinis for all who choose to partake. Bright Shining, subtitled How Grace Changes Everything, is Australian journalist Julia Baird's investigation and pitch for the concept of grace. Baird has made a career out of, among other things, investigating these tricky but really crucial concepts like awe and wonder that we find powerful in the human experience, but are often difficult to write about or talk about. Grace is no different. It is easy to see in the kindness of a stranger, but actually kind of tricky to put into a few simple words. Not to mention that it oftentimes comes with a religious connotation for many people. And Baird opens the book by exploring a few different definitions before offering some specific criteria of her own that I really like. Those are being fully, thrillingly alive, recognizing that grace is ultimately undeserved and unmerited, and then finally practicing it as an opportunity to see the good in the other, recognizing that all of us can hope to be better in some way, in some time. Baird wrote this book asking all of us to engage more in good faith, in part as a response to the world that we live in now, which is one where there are, technological marvels and obscene material wealth, but still we find ourselves alienated and isolated from each other, less empathetic towards each other, distrustful of the institutions that we built together, and oftentimes just feeling profoundly broken in so many different ways. But Baird isn't selling the concept of grace as if it's some sort of 5 a.m. hack to your morning routine. What I like about this book is that Baird describes grace as it is, an incredibly hard practice that is challenging to engage in, but something all of us have the opportunity to engage with each and every single day. She does all this by telling dozens of stories of hardship and mercy and challenge and triumph pulled from across history and peoples and politics the world over. There's countless tearjerker moments, and even though it's really well researched, the prose flows really beautifully. In particular, I like the two sections on forgiveness and grief. In the section on grief, she wrote about losing an ex-boyfriend, someone she had lived with for many years, but didn't have a relationship that worked out with. And what a strange position it is to be that person after someone you loved but are no longer with passes away. And then in forgiveness, she talks about how difficult forgiveness is. And I worry sometimes with a thing like grace, the fortune cookie definition becomes, oh, you just have to forgive all the harm that is done to you. Baird describes a much more realistic journey in which it is very difficult to forgive harm, and also not something that all of the victimized are necessarily called to do. Ultimately, she makes the point early on that grace might be the antithesis of cancel culture. Not because it's about enabling bad or problematic behavior, that would be a culture of impunity, but because it holds out the hope that if we do more to heal the world and the brokenness in it, we might ultimately find a way not just to address the needs of those who have been victimized and hurt and meet them where they are, but through acts of grace also hold out the hope that people who are broken can become better in time. I couldn't agree with her more. I found the entire book really life-affirming, and I highly encourage you to read it or get it for someone if you're looking for a last-minute holiday present.